My name is Daniel Santiago Ramirez Valencia. I was born in July 27, 1994 in Medellin, Colombia. I studied my elementary school here in Medellin. My high school period was kind of turbulent. I managed to be in four different schools by the time I got graduate. Once I finished high school, I was really concerned about what I was going to study. Before I started my licenciatura en Inglés y Español, I made 1 year in the International Business Program here in the UPB. I have to confess that I was studying just to make happy my family, but in the inside I was confused and bored because they pushed me a lot. Somehow I was feeling just like living their dream. After that year, I realized that I was completely lost and I was not enjoying my time there. Hopefully, my singular interest for English was the main reason that persuaded me to change. So I moved to the education faculty and nowadays I'm in the 4th year of the program. Through all that time, I have learned a lot, and a lot more still left to be learned. It's weird how life turns and then you are in a path that you never thought about it. But this experience has been something remarkable for me. At first, I thought that teaching was easy, but I was completely wrong. Thanks to the experience and knowledge that has been shared with me, now I can say that teaching is complex. It requires a set of skills to be a good teacher in order to make teaching both more effective and more efficient. When we teach, we do not just teach the content, we teach students the content. Students with different characteristics can affect learning. However, we cannot measure all these characteristics. We can gather the most relevant information in order to adapt the course to our students' main needs. As a language teacher, I want to motivate my students to be curious and critical about their learning process, and to contrast what they learn with the daily problems as a useful way to solve them. In order to achieve that, I will not be that kind of teacher who tries to fit the material into the same pedagogical box. Students will always be different from one another. I will try to engage students in many different ways, focusing in the specific needs of my future students. However, I also believe that there is no any magic formula for teachers. Sometimes things will go completely different as we plan, and I got to have the skills to overcome these kinds of situations. For me, teaching is not just an academic exercise. Students are also people and they will look for any idea, advice, or suggestions that will help them in their growth as a human beings. Effective teaching involves adopting appropriate teaching roles. Even though students are responsible for their own learning, the roles we assume as instructors are critical in guiding students. We can pick different roles in our classes. For example, a moderator, challenger, commentator, teacher. These roles should be chosen in service of the learning objectives and in support of the instructional activities. Roles may be constant or variable depending of the class objectives. Effective teaching also involves refining our courses based on reflection and feedback. Teaching requires adapting. We need to be ready to make changes when appropriate, but these changes are not random in order to know what we need to change based on the relevant information of our own teaching effectiveness. Based on that, we might modify the learning objectives, content, structure, or otherwise adjust our teaching. Small purposeful changes driven by feedback are most likely to be effective. For me, those are the skills that allow you to be a good teacher. Also, I'm completely open to new ideas since I don't have that much practice as a teacher that some others, but I personally believe that implementing this will be the difference between a passionate and critical student and a regular one. I believe that students will be as good as you encourage and engage them to improve. With a good feedback process, using different techniques to enhance their skills and helping them to overcome obstacles and barriers through the learning process. All these come to my mind because I strive to challenge my students and inspire them to realize that they are able to develop and share their special capabilities and thrill to learn with and through them. That's my philosophy of teaching statement.